Hey, what is up everybody? Chad here. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and if you end up enjoying the video, leave a like, and let's go and get into it. So, this video we're actually going to be continuing with Thor, the God of Thunder. Basically, like this is like the meeting of Thor, like his very first encounter with Gorr the God Butcher. So, where we start out here, we have Mjolnir. You know, we're basically like talking about Mjolnir, how it was forged in the fire, is like so hot that it can melt the sun, and you know, it's basically like strong enough to like destroy planets. You know, basically like their pebbles and stuff like that. Basically, like you know, just like introducing Mjolnir, because like Thor at this time, this is past Thor. Thor's never lifted it. Like he doesn't know like the power that it wields, pretty much. So he's trying to lift it, and he starts getting like irritated because he can't lift it, and he's like, okay, eventually I'm gonna lift this hammer up, and then like cut to like 2 shots of him actually using the hammer like to like against Gorr's minions, basically like in the future and in the present day. So he ends up like leaving on that note, and so basically what he's doing now is he's going to he's like sailing across the ocean with like these Vikings, right? Because he's like the Norse god of thunder. So they're basically like taking their god. You know, they're gonna go and like trying to fight the other this other group of people like from where they're sailing to. And like while they're sailing, one of the main sailors, he's like talking to Thor. He's like, it's getting kind of like foggy out here, because it's like the fog is like it's getting like super thick, like they don't know what's going on. And he's like telling like they should probably like slow down so you know they don't like hit nothing, you know, make sure they don't crash into land, or you know, like stuff like that, pretty much. And Thor's just like, oh well, you got a pair of god eyes up here, so we should be fine, like it shouldn't be that big of a deal. And like while he's talking to this guy about that, one of the other sailors, like he's like looking out, and he's like, oh, I see something out there, like what is that? There's some kind of creature, and he's like walking on the water. What is that, y'all? And like the guy, one of the other ones, they start, well, I'm gonna call them like Sailor 1 and Sailor 2. Sailor 1, he's like saying he's like saying, oh, there's something out there, like y'all see that? And like Sailor 2, he looks at him, he's like, no man, it's nothing, like you're just seeing stuff, man, don't worry about it. And like Thor, when Thor goes to like he's like talking to him, he's like, okay, y'all need to stop being like so childish. Y'all are like scared of like what, mermaids? No, stop being so childish, come on now. And he tells him like knock it off, like stuff like that. So like while he's doing that, he's like, you know, he's thinking about it. He's like, okay, this might be Gorr the God Butcher, we probably should like slow down. So he like tells everybody to slow down, you know, because of the fog, you know, make sure it don't hit nothing. And like while he's doing that, we get that first shot of Gorr the God Butcher. He's basically like looking at them, and he's like, okay, Thor is here, he might lead me to someone else, because you know he's going out to like, you know, just kill gods and stuff like that. So he's like, okay, if I just wait it out, I could probably kill Thor plus these other guys that he's taking me to, pretty much. So he just like waits, and he just like follows them. He's just like following them, pretty much. So a few days later, they make it to land. You know, they have their Vikings. You know, they're basically like getting ready to like fight the Slavics, right? And like Thor, he's not ready. He doesn't want to fight them. He knows he'll like, you know, wipe them off the face of the wipe them off the face of the earth, like no problem. He's calling for their gods, like he want to fight them. Like that's basically what he's asking them. He's like, where are y'all gods at? I'm here. Where are they at? I don't want to fight y'all. Y'all are nothing. Y'all are a cakewalk for me. I'm gonna let these guys do that. And they're like basically like trying to get at him. They're just like, well, no, but just wait on the gods, pretty much. And the Slavs are basically like telling them like they'll be here eventually, like just wait it out. So like while they're talking, basically, you know, they're just, you know, they're beefing and stuff like that. One of the horses of their gods actually comes down there, you know, riderless, like there's nobody on top of him, there's no god on him. He's like covered in blood. So basically like whatever happened, like there's something that just happened. And Thor, he's just like, okay, I'm gonna go check that out. So he hops on top of the horse, and you know, all the Slavs and the Vikings, you know, they just start fighting it out, pretty much. You know, that's pretty much where that ends. And like, you know, Thor, he just like flies up on the horse, and he's just like, okay, what's going on? And like while he's flying up, he sees something, and you know, it's like flying towards him, right? It's like flying towards him, and it's the other horse. It's the other horse, but it's like on the horse's back is the other god, but he's headless, like he got decapitated, pretty much. So like while he's doing that, he's trying to figure out what's going on. Gorr the God Butcher's like sneaking up behind him. You know, he whips out his all black necro sword. All black necro sword, if you don't know what that is basically the sword of it's a sword that was forged by the Null the symbiote guy. Null the symbiote guy, he's a really cool villain. I love him. He is so good. But we'll get to him during the King of Black story. But for right now, Gorr, you know, he whips out the all black necro sword, and he goes to like slice off the head of the horse that Thor is riding. So like now Thor is just falling, because he can't fly yet. He doesn't have Mjolnir. That was basically like his way to fly. So now he can't fly. He's just like free falling. And like Gorr, he's so cool, because like he just starts taunting him. He's like, you see that helpless feeling that you feel right now while you're falling? That's what it feels like to be mortal, pretty much. And he's like, so basically like from that line alone, you basically like feel like, well, you can basically like, you know, assume that Gorr is basically like looking down on gods and stuff because of the way that gods look down on mortals, pretty much. Just like basically like having a sense of like helplessness, pretty much. So he's like falling down, right? Thor's like falling, and like while he's falling, the black horse that flew by him with the dead god on top like comes down and it like swoops him up, and so now he's flying that horse. So eventually like he's fighting Gorr, and Gorr's like, oh, you're a fighter, okay, I like that. Normally like these guys they just die, like they don't they don't put up a fight or nothing, like they just give up, like just like little scared little children, pretty much. And like so they start fighting, and like eventually Thor gets knocked off the horse again, and he gets like ran through the back, and like the horse, well, he gets like ran through the back by Gorr the God Butcher, and the horse that he was riding on comes and like smacks him from behind, basically. And like while all this is going on, Thor is basically like recounting this like story, or not this story, his time like as a youngster, as a kid, pretty much. And like he's basically talking about this mad god that was put in the pit, and it was basically like the story of like the difference between war and murder, pretty much. So like there was this mad god, right, in like this pit in Asgard. So Thor, he goes to ask Odin, like, what's the difference between what Odin does, which is, going out, in wars, killing thousands of people every time he goes out, and coming back, drenched in blood, pretty much. And the difference between that and this mad god who basically just went out and just started killing like random people just cause, like random gods, across the 9 realms just cause, pretty much. And Thor, he gives him like an answer, but Odin gives him like an answer, but Thor's like, oh, I don't like that answer. Let me go see what this guy's all about. So he goes to the mad god later that night. And like he stumbles and he falls in, pretty much. So he's down there with this crazy god who is basically going around the 9 realms and just killing everybody, just like destroying everybody, just like annihilating the entirety of the pantheon. So like he's down there, he like looks in his eyes and he's just like ready to see like some kind of like wildness, like some kind of like like bloodlust, but there's nothing. Like he just looks normal. He just looks like he's like just chill, like he just had like the calmest eyes, the calmest voice. And like where Thor, he's just standing there just like ready to like start defending himself. Like the guy just starts talking to him, he's just like talking to him about like what he did, why he did what he did, stuff like that. Like, but like Thor, he's still confused, but like it's not at all like what he was expecting. Like he didn't expect that at all. So like while he's recounting that, he's still getting like pummeled by Gorr the God Butcher. Like he is getting destroyed by Gorr the God Butcher. Like he is so outclassed, it's not even funny. Like it's not even funny how bad he is getting dead right now. He's like Gorr starts taunting him and all that stuff. He's like, oh, well, what are you the god of? Like you're a god, but like of what? Blood, lies, vanity. Like what are you the god of? Death. I've killed like gods of war. Like what makes you different? Like what do you think you'll be able to do here? I've killed the god of torture, all that stuff. Like what so I'm gonna ask you again, like what are you the god of? And like Thor, he's just like, oh, thunder, and he like smacks him with a lightning bolt. He smacks Gorr with a lightning bolt, and it forces him to like let go of Thor, because he was like holding him by the throat, and he just like calls it in, just like pow, like smacks him with it. So like they're both free falling, and like eventually, while that's going on, we actually go to present day Thor. Like present day Thor, he's just sitting there, like he finally got rid of the guardian of Gorr the God Butcher that was at in the halls, basically, that he had to fight. So he finally got rid of that, and he decides, okay, it feels like Gorr's gotten stronger. I need to go to Omnipotent City and see what's going on. Omnipotent City, if you don't know what that is, it's basically like this place. It's like a library for the gods, basically. You can like look up anything you need to know about any of the gods. You can go and look up stuff like about the inactive gods, see what they were doing before they left, why they've been gone, like all that kind of stuff. You can just like look them up, pretty much. So that's basically where Thor is going to be going. And like while he's doing that, we cut back to old Thor and the present day Thor. Old Thor, he's just like out battling right now. Like old Thor is like throwing hands. Like that's King Thor right there. He's out there just throwing hands with all of the minions of Gorr the God Butcher. Present day Thor, he's knocked out. Like he just took that massive fall. He's unconscious right now. He's out for the count. So with that being said, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.